Chris and Jay back on SportsCenter. New York City is gearing up for one huge weekend. Thursday evening, Madison Square Garden. It's the Knicks and the Hawks in their opener. That place will be buzzing tomorrow night. Knicks looking to bounce back from their worst season in franchise history. They won just 17 games last season. Spike Lee doesn't like that stat. And then Queens will be the place to be on Friday as the Mets host the Royals Game 3 of the World Series. Of course, they would love to come home with the series even at 1. Noah Syndergaard slated to start for the Mets. Thor was dealing in his last outing at Citi Field, striking out 9 in the 4-1 win over the Cubs. And on Sunday, it's the TCS New York City Marathon. It'll pass through all 5 boroughs. The marathon has been held every year since 1970. The race begins on Staten Island before wrapping up in Central Park. Now, that is a sports weekend for the Big Apple, and we are joined now.
And you forgot Halloween, too.
Oh, that's right. You got to throw Halloween in there.
Big in New York.
It is huge in New York City. Spike Lee's tied to all of this. You're the Grand Marshal for the big New York City Marathon on Sunday. What exactly does that mean? Chris and I were trying to figure out, okay, what are your duties? I'm here. Well, what will you do? What will your involvement be?
Race day, I think I got to pull the cannon, and then my wife and I will be in a convertible, and we will lead 50,000 people through all 5 boroughs, including the Republic of Brooklyn, New York, and we end up in Central Park. So
you're driving the whole course?
Yes, the whole course. And the New York City Marathon is one of the great sporting events in the world. So I'm just happy that I was asked to be Grand Marshal, the first New York City person, New Yorker.
That surprised Chris and I that it's never. It should always
They've only had 3.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. It's a great day in New York City, and the route goes through my neighborhood in Brooklyn. So
wow,
I've seen it since I was a little kid, and so it'll be the first time. I've never been to Central Park though for the end, so this will for the finish.
Wow,
so this will be the first time.
Cool. Yeah. Enjoy it.
It's great.
Yeah.
You know, New Yorkers love the big event. Whatever that event happens to be at the moment, it seems every New Yorker wants a piece of it. It can be the U.S. Open. It can be a hot sports team.
Right.
And every weekend, the first weekend in November, it's always the marathon. Everybody lines the streets.
Right.
The Upper East Side, all the bars
Millions
and restaurants.
line the streets, yeah.
What does it mean to New Yorkers, the marathon?
First of all, it's another example that New York City is the greatest city on this God's planet, and you have people from all over the world attend this spectacle, and it's just great to see all the New Yorkers, the diversity, everybody out cheering. Not just the world-class runners, but the people in wheelchairs, people with disabilities, you know, people struggling, and you just want to get out there and say, finish.
Root them on.
Yeah, that is the
root them on.
part.
Yeah.
We know many celebrities and former athletes get into the marathon. A lot of people have it on their bucket list to run the marathon. One of the players, a former player, tennis player, James Blake, is running the marathon this year. He said the training has been killing him, in fact, that it is so different. But
well, we could talk about a lot of other things with James Blake. We'll leave that alone.
No. I honestly want your opinion on that.
Go there.
Because he was in town during the time of the U.S. Open.
Right.
And everyone knows now he was tackled and detained by a New York City police officer in a case of mistaken identity.
Right.
He's talked about the incident, and he said, I don't want to muddy the waters. He believes it's not race, it was excessive force. What was your initial reaction when you saw the news and then when you saw the video of him being tackled?
Well, I'll have to disagree with Mr. Blake. I do think it was a matter of race. But I understand the cops have a very difficult job. Most recently, a New York City cop was murdered, shot down in Harlem. So it goes hand in hand. So I'm not going to get up here and do a Tarantino and bash New York City cops. They got a hard job. But there is a problem. Obama talked about it yesterday before the convention of police in Chicago. There seems to be, there is a rift or a divide between police enforcement and people of color. And I think that the stats, I mean, I'm appalled by this guy that what the guy did.
The video in his classroom.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to pick the girl up and slam it down. I mean, she was not armed. It's a school.
That police officer, in fact, has a history. He's been sued twice. One
federal charges.
Yes. Let me ask you how we close that divide, Spike.
Here's the thing. I mean, and I'm going to answer this honestly. I mean, people ask me the same question at the end of Do the Right Thing. Spike, you didn't provide the answer. I like the film, but you didn't provide the answer for prejudice or race. I don't have that answer, but I think that the first step is we have to acknowledge there is a problem and try to work it out. Because if we keep our heads in the sand and think like there's not a problem, then we're not going anywhere.
You know,
but I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to bash cops. Look, there's some bad cops, but I'm not going to just say a blanket statement.
No,
the United States of America.
I don't think anybody's saying that. In fact, James wasn't saying that either. He said it was
like anything. You have bad apples
in
every sector of society, and we
but,
hear more about those. Particularly
I know,
now
but
with
when
video.
dealing with law enforcement, though, a mistake can end up in a loss of life. So that's why that's escalated.
Yeah, absolutely.
What it also brought to light, too, was the idea of athletes as activists. Right. And he never asked to be put in that position, and yet here he is. And I want you to take a listen to what he told Hannah Storm in a recent interview.
Are you an activist at this point? Do you see yourself that way?
That's a good question. I haven't really been asked that. I think if people want to give me that role, I'm happy to be that. I never really thought of myself as one before this, but if that's a position I'm in, I've definitely always said in my life that life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how do you react to it. So once this happened, my reaction is hopefully going to be one of positive steps forward. And if that makes me an activist, then so be it.
You know, but there's a history of activism in sports. Billie Jean King, Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jim Brown. So it's a very, I mean, there are a lot of athletes, you know, they get told by the club, don't speak on it. And then they get told by their manager agency, you do this, it's going to hurt your endorsement thing. So it takes heroism to do that, because you know there might be ramifications by talking about something.
Well, Michael Jordan famously said Republicans buy shoes too.
I knew you'd bring that up.
I know. And LeBron James, it seems, has embraced his role as an activist. Is there a generational shift, do you think? And I know you talked about long term. We've seen athletes embrace that role.
Tommy Smith, John Carlos, can't leave him out, the 68
Absolutely.
Olympics.
It goes back to 68. So
Mexico City.
What's your view on it, though? I know you say it's heroic for athletes to slide into that role. Do you think that they have an obligation as role models? Sorry, Chuck. But
I used to think that.
Yeah.
I used to think that everybody had the obligation, but I was ignorant, and I've come to see that everybody has their own path, what they want to do. So I can't talk about, you should be doing this, you be doing that.
Right.
People are going to do what they want to do, and, you know, they just got to live with their actions.
What changed your mind on that?
That I'm not the almighty.
Age, perhaps?
Yes. And I got married.
Oh, that changes your...
Oh, my white tie.
You're a different man now.
She pulls my coattail, whatever it is. She says, let's sit down here and talk about this. And so I'm better for that.
All right. Hey, quickly before we let you go, how are your Knicks going to do?
Well, we got to win more than 17 games.
Yes, you do.
I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
Is Phil the guy?
Well, he's the only guy you got.
Is he the guy?
He's the guy for the next 4 years.
So he better be that
He's signed a 5-year contract.
Yeah.
That's what Mr. Dolan signed him for.
All right.
I'll be at the Garden Court side tomorrow night.
Will. Yeah.
Home opener.
Great to see you, Spike.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the big sports
Sunday.
weekend.
Oh, it's big in New York.
Absolutely.
As always.
Spike Lee.
Enjoy it. Spike Lee with us.
And Duke is king, the 5th crown.